Hello YouTube. Today we're going to look at P3D graphics. In the past I've looked at FSX in comparison to P3D, but today it's going to be exclusively P3D. So here's the setup. These are the software add-ons. We're going to have a look at Air's Rock as well. Now there is a migration tool that can help you take your FSX scenery or aircraft over into P3D. Now this will be a consideration if you've made a big investment for FSX and are now wondering about whether you should go to P3D. This could help you. So here's a look at what London City Airport looks like for real. And now we'll have a flight from London City. And our old favourite, the Marchetti. Using Opus FX for the weather and for the camera movement. So you can see we're a little bit overcast at the moment in London. A little bit of haze around. Anyway, we'll get airborne and see what it looks like. So this scenery is the Aerosoft London VFR, with a couple of extra details added in, like this cable car you can see just here. So I've manually transferred London VFR over into P3D, and you can see it's working okay. So in P3D I've set my target frame rate at 35 frames per second, but the density of this particular package is giving only about 10 frames per second. Here I've paused it at Greenwich now just to show the Greenwich detail, the old Naval College and the Royal Greenwich Observatory at the back there, Cutty Sark. So even though we're only getting, roughly 10 frames per second, it's not a slideshow. It's running reasonably smoothly. So Canary Wharf, all the iconic buildings there. Down the River Thames. Heading now towards Tower Bridge. Just pause again there a moment. So I've got the controls for the graphics, the sliders, set to about the halfway point. And we're getting, 10 to 12 frames per second. So you do have to fiddle about a bit to get the optimum rate. But you can see P3D is giving some very good graphics here. So given that you've now got a tool that you can get hold of to migrate your FSX packages onto P3D, it's becoming a no-brainer now to make the upgrade. Lord's Cricket Ground. Heading west now. And we're going to make a landing at RAF Northolt. First base I ever served on in the RAF. Very nice little unit. And there we are, down at Northolt. So here's a review of the Machete. And now we're going to move on to Mykonos and see how P3D reacts to a Mediterranean environment. So once again, an Aerosoft package. Lots of good detail. And this time we're getting better frame rate, going between 20 and 30 frames per second. So remember, this scenery is sitting on top of the Orbex packages. So there's a lot of grunt, scenery grunt, sitting on the machine here. So you're getting a pretty good effect. The way Orbex works, you have to set or select the global area that you're interested in before you actually set off and fly. So here we're in the Mediterranean area, so we have to select the Europe area for Orbex in their FTX Central add-on. So the other areas you can get are Oceania, where you're looking at Australia and New Zealand, or North America. So you do have to select that before you fly, and that will influence the hierarchy of your scenery in the scenery library. It will boost the selected area to the very top of the scenery library. So it's important to get that right, otherwise you influence what is seen on the screen to the extent that large bits of the scenery might be missing if you don't get the scenery library hierarchy sorted out correctly. So pretty smooth, good frame rate, good models. It is nice scenery. So I'm doing a lot of flying out of the cockpit just to get a good idea of the scenery, enjoy the scenery. But this can cause a problem in not knowing certain parameters of what the aircraft is doing. There is a way around that now, and I'll show you shortly. There is a package you can get for an iPad, if you have an iPad, little application that you can download that will put your primary flying instruments onto your iPad. Then you can just prop your iPad up alongside your screen, and you've got complete access then, permanent access to all your flying instruments, so that you know what you're doing at all times. When I made the video of Mykonos here, I wasn't using this add-on for the iPad, but having done it since then, it certainly makes it a lot easier. You can see the airport just under the nose there, so we're going to make an approach to the airport. Nice looking beaches down there. So this add-on, Remote Flight Cockpit, those are the instruments you get. There are in fact others that you can swap around, and they're very nicely done, high definition. You can also get a radio stack and a moving map, so well worth a look. So we'll continue our approach. See, there's a bit of blue on that far island. This is one of the issues with NVIDIA graphics cards. If you use the very latest drivers, sometimes that blue can take over the entire scenery. And the fix for that is to go back to an earlier version of the graphics driver. So getting sorted on the approach, trying to achieve the 3-degree glide slope. Looking at the precision approach lights to judge that. So 2 white, 2 red means we're on the 3-degree. Once again, we've got Opus FX on in the background, just controlling the local weather and controlling the camera movement. Speed's a little bit high. Really needed that iPad instrumentation to help on the speed there. So that's Mykonos. Very nice package. Now we're going to have a look at Ayers Rock. Also for Uluru. This time we'll use the R66. Time of day, late afternoon. Best to see the rock either early in the morning or late in the afternoon. So we're flying from Connellan Airport, Y-A-Y-E. The tour isn't very big here. Get about 300,000 passengers inbound every year. And Connellan can take up to a Boeing 737-800. You can see the airport detail is very good. And there's the monoliths in the background. So we'll head off towards the rock. Passing some of the accommodation on the way. Accommodation's been moved out of the Uluru Park area. It's a sacred site. A very good depiction of the red centre. People tend to forget how big Australia is. So Ayers Rock's pretty much in the centre of Australia. It's nearly 2,000 miles from Sydney, so it's a long, long way, like 1,700 miles. Nearest big town to Ayers Rock is Alice Springs, but you know, that's about 200 miles away, so it's a fair old journey, fair old trek from Alice Springs. So there's the big rock, sandstone structure. Great upheavals, it got turned on its side. Hence the strata you see there. So it sticks up above the landscape, nearly 1,200 feet. Discovered by a surveyor in 1873, who named it after Sir Henry Ayres, who was the Chief Secretary of South Australia at the time. So it now has a dual name, the Aboriginal name of Uluru and Ayers Rock as well. So with this scenery we're getting good frame rates as well, high 20s into the 30s. And this scenery is sitting on top of the Orbex Australia scenery. So once again, a lot of detail. People do climb up Ayers Rock, the tourists, but the locals prefer it if you don't do the climb. It is a sacred site. Also, it can be a bit dangerous, it gets a bit windy up there. So the credits. Thanks to Lockheed, Microsoft, Relair. Hope you enjoyed it, and see you again next time.